Are now being made public following the sentencing of convicted killer Bryan Kohberger.
The Idaho State Police, first they post and then take down photos from the Kohberger matter.
3,000 photographs, released, downloaded, and then erased, all in the span of a single afternoon. Now ask yourself this: what kind of images force an entire agency to hit the panic button only hours after making them public? What was hidden inside those files? And why are people still talking about Bryan Kohberger long after everyone thought the news was over? Because what happened in Moscow, Idaho is no longer just a closed case. It's becoming something much bigger, something stranger, something that has triggered a wave of questions nobody seems able to answer. According to reports circulating online, thousands of photographs connected to the infamous King Road House investigation briefly appeared in a public archive before suddenly disappearing without warning. No countdown and no explanation. Just gone. And the moment they vanished, the internet did what the internet always does. It started digging. Forums exploded. Social media went into overdrive. Armchair investigators began connecting dots. And within hours, new theories were spreading faster than anyone could control. Coincidence? Damage control? Or evidence that somebody realized those images revealed far more than they were ever supposed to? Tonight, we're diving into the mystery behind the vanished photographs, the controversy surrounding Bryan Kohberger, and the questions that refuse to stay buried. Because the deeper this news goes, the darker it gets. The first thing people noticed was not what appeared inside the photographs. It was what disappeared. Because when the archive briefly went live, most viewers expected to see ordinary investigative material. Room layouts, evidence markers, documentation logs. The standard collection of images that usually accompany a major criminal investigation. Instead, people began reporting something unusual. Photograph after photograph appeared to show tiny details that had never been discussed publicly. A chair positioned at an odd angle, a lamp that seemed out of place, personal items that raised questions nobody had asked before. And within minutes, screenshots started spreading across the internet. Nobody could agree on what they were looking at, but everyone agreed on one thing. Something about those images felt different. By sunset, online discussion boards were flooded with theories. Some claimed the photographs exposed major inconsistencies in the official timeline. Others insisted there was nothing unusual at all, and that people were simply seeing what they wanted to see. The arguments became so intense that entire discussion threads were locked. Videos appeared. Reaction channels exploded. Comment sections turned into battlefields. And right at the center of the storm was one name: Bryan Kohberger. For years, Bryan Kohberger had remained one of the most controversial figures connected to the King Road House case. Not because people agreed on what happened, but because people could never stop talking about him. Every few months, a new rumor would appear. Every few months, another theory would spread. And every time the news seemed ready to disappear, something pulled it back into public view. Now it was happening again. Only this time, thousands of photographs had entered the conversation. The timing immediately raised eyebrows. Why now? Why release the archive after all this time? Why make it public only to remove it hours later? Those questions became the fuel driving the controversy. Then came another development. An independent online group claimed they had downloaded the entire archive before it vanished. The announcement spread like wildfire. According to the group, they possessed every image that had briefly appeared online. But they also claimed they would not release everything. That statement only made people more suspicious. If the photographs were harmless, why withhold them? And if they were not harmless, why release them in the first place? The speculation reached a fever pitch. Within days, social media users began creating side-by-side comparisons between old investigative records and newly discussed photographs. Every object became a clue. Every shadow became a mystery. Every unanswered question became a potential headline. Some of the theories were wild. Others were surprisingly detailed. One viral post accumulated millions of views after claiming that a specific sequence of photographs suggested investigators had focused on an area of a residence that had never been publicly discussed. Another post argued the exact opposite. According to that theory, the photographs actually reinforced everything already known. The internet was effectively arguing with itself, and nobody seemed capable of stopping it. Then came the screenshots, images allegedly showing comments from anonymous insiders, comments that nobody could verify, comments that spread anyway. One claimed investigators had spent months reviewing evidence that never made it into official summaries. Another suggested there were internal disagreements over what information should be made public. Neither claim could be independently confirmed. Yet, both exploded across social media. Because controversy has a way of growing even when facts remain unclear, the more uncertainty existed, the larger the news became. And then people started looking beyond the photographs. Attention shifted toward the agency responsible for the release. Questions began piling up. Who approved it? Who reviewed the files? Who made the final decision? And perhaps most importantly, who decided to pull everything back down? The silence only amplified the speculation. Every hour without answers generated new theories. Every unanswered question created another wave of content. Some influencers claimed the removal proved mistakes had been made. Others argued the reaction itself was overblown. Meanwhile, viewers watching from the sidelines struggled to separate fact from fiction, because by that point, the news had become bigger than the photographs themselves. It had become a debate about transparency, trust, accountability, and the uncomfortable reality that once information reaches the internet, controlling becomes nearly impossible. But there was another layer to the news, a layer many people overlooked. The human element, lost in the arguments, were the people whose lives had become permanently connected to the King Road House investigation. For them, this wasn't internet drama. It wasn't entertainment. It wasn't a trending topic. It was something much more personal. Yet online discussions rarely slowed down long enough to consider that. Instead, the conversation kept accelerating. New videos appeared every hour. New theories emerged every day. And the controversy showed no signs of fading. Then something happened that changed the tone entirely. A statement surfaced from individuals connected to the case. It wasn't angry. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't filled with accusations. Instead, it carried a simple message. Remember the people behind the headlines. For a brief moment, the endless speculation paused. Not completely, but enough for some viewers to recognize what had been lost amid the noise. Because behind every theory was a real event. Behind every viral post was a news that affected real lives. And behind every photograph was a moment frozen in time. A moment that could never be undone. Yet even that message failed to stop the controversy. If anything, it intensified it. Because now two competing conversations were taking place simultaneously. One focused on transparency. The other focused on responsibility. One side argued that information should remain accessible.